Hello, I'm Brian Fox. Welcome to I Hate Rock Music. That's right. And so this video is going to be on a really cool band called Mr. Flood's Party. And I remember picking this up in cutouts back about 1970 or 71, probably for about 50 cents. Had a really cool cover. I really wasn't sure what to expect. The lineup was a relatively large band, 6 members, and doesn't really say anywhere on the record who plays what, but thanks through the internet now we have a little bit more information on this band. But a really cool record. Definitely, as a lot of reviewers have called it, one of the last gasps of psychedelic rock. And another one of those bands, kind of like Summerhill. I did a video on a band called Summerhill that was really interesting, that included a lot of orchestration and Baroque pop, but also mixed with hard rock and some early progressive elements and whatnot. And it's really hard to categorize. And Mr. Flood's Party is a great example of that. And a lot of interesting vocal work, a lot of interesting orchestrations, and then moments when you can actually tell it's a rock band, where they show that they were definitely a rock band. So the band itself is Tom Castagnaro on drums, Michael Corbett on vocals, flute, and percussion, Jay Hirsch on vocals and keyboards, Rick Mirage on lead guitar, Marcel Thompson on bass, and Freddie Toscano on vocals, guitar, and keyboards. So got a lot of keyboard players in there, 3 guitar players, a couple of different vocalists, and it really shows on the record because there's a lot going on, a lot of instrumentation, interesting layered keyboards, lots of interesting guitar work, and then these orchestrations as well. And I'm pretty sure I hear the hint of Moog synthesizers and mellotrons in there as well, but not heavily up front in the mix. But seems like they definitely had some progressive elements to them, aside from the orchestration, having some of these early electronic instruments in there as well. But they came out of Greenwich Village, Long Island, New York. Spent a lot of time in Greenwich Village in 1969, and then got signed to Cotillion Records. Um, Self-produced the record. Put out a non-LP 45 before the album came out, a little country song called Alice Was a Dream, and I'll include that link below. And then as quickly as the album appeared, it just really went nowhere, and the band broke up. But a couple of years later, I think 1971 or 72, we have a Corbett Hirsch duet album with Hugh McCracken on guitar. So Jay Hirsch and Michael Corbett, the 2 vocalists, um, and a keyboard player, ended up doing this record in the early 70s. And you can see a lot of the same elements from Mr. Flood's Party, but it's just got more of a 70s feel. The arrangements are a lot more stark, but there's some harmonies and some interesting uh, arrangement choices, and some choice orchestrations here and there that kind of show that it's the same people on board. And I prefer the Mr. Flood's Party just because it's so much more experimental and so much more daring and so much more exotic. But the Corbett Hirsch LP definitely has a lot of winners on it as well, and interesting to hear them do much quieter, restrained, mostly acoustic version of kind of what Mr. Flood's Party were doing. So, and of course, it would have been all the more interesting if Mr. Flood's Party had just continued and moved their sound into the 70s. I'm sure it would have been a lot more eclectic and adventurous than what the Corbett Hirsch LP ended up being. But there's also a little back history on the band. They were originally called the Fourth Dimension. I'm not sure how that gels with the fact that there was a world famous pop band called the Fifth Dimension. But between 1966 and 1968, the Fourth Dimension put out 245s on Columbia, Rainy Day, and Mr. Blair, and I'll include those below as well. But definitely a lot more of what you'd expect from 60s, late 60s Baroque pop, a little less dangerous than what Mr. Flood's Party ends up becoming. Mr. Flood's Party is definitely has a kind of a melancholy feel to it, and a darkness to it, and then just this rich tapestry with all this incredible instrumentation, great playing, the guitar playing and the drumming on Mr. Flood's Party, as well as the bass playing for that matter, all really top notch. And the moments where they showed that they're a rock band, you can really tell that they could have delivered if they wanted to go down that road and play more hard rock music. But the Fourth Dimension stuff is still a nice addition to their repertoire. As far as I know, it was essentially the same band, and it's great that we have this Mr. Flood's Party record now. I know that I bought it in cutouts in about 71 or 72, and I was roped in by the cool cover. But I think most the early years that I was listening to the record, I didn't quite get it as much as I do now. Now it makes perfect sense, and I really respect how adventurous and how many different colors there are on this record, and really have an appreciation for some of these unusual bands that put together progressive elements and rock elements and baroque pop elements, and then these wonderful vocal charts. Mr. Flood's Party has a nice section that's just a cappella vocal work that's just stunning to hear at the end of one of the songs, and then there's some really great, unusual vocal charts all over the record. Like I mentioned before, it kind of reminds me of bands like Graffiti and bands like Summerhill that I've already done videos on. Um, Back in the 60s and 70s, it was really hard for me to wrap my mind around the unusual combination of musics that they put together. But as time goes on, and especially now, I listen to them and I really appreciate how unique they are, how visionary they are, how unusual they are, how creative they are. Really one of a kind bands. And as always, unfortunately, we only got one album out of Mr. Flood's Party, but definitely one that slipped under the radar. The collectors are rediscovering now. A real humdinger. And as I've said in a lot of videos, it's nice that the cover is so interesting and dark as well. It looks great in the collection. Um, and wonderful record. So anyway, the link is posted below. Mr. Flood's Party, check them out. I'm Brian Fox. Thanks for watching.